about. And then another point I want to make is a lot of the people who are now criticizing Tulsi, but let me be clear about where I stand on the primary. I believe Bernie Sanders he should win the Democratic primary, and of course there's going to be all this funny business going on behind the scenes, and they're doing everything in their power to rig it. But he should be the number one. He should win the nomination, and for me, right now he's still my favorite. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the people who are going after Tulsi supporters, they were the same people who called us. That were saying we were in a cult of personality for Bernie Sanders when we were Bernie or bust. When we said that we weren't going to vote for Hillary Clinton, they were like, "Oh, you're such a purist. You're hung up on Bernie Sanders. You can't see straight." But now that we have another progressive in the race, and some of those very same Bernie or bust people see Tulsi Gabbard and they say, "Oh, I there are some things about her that I like more than Bernie Sanders, so I'm going to maybe not even 100% jump on the Tulsi train like you put it, but I'm going to give a defense for her. I'm going to say why it's important to have her in the conversation." They will turn around and say, now those people are in a cult of personality for Tulsi Gabbard. Like, how about we have principles and we have policies that are important to us, and when we see somebody who's advocating for them, we're not gonna equivocate. We're not gonna we're not gonna put the personality or the person over the consistency and the ideology. Like, if you believe in something, you believe in it. Right. I feel like there's no way you can't quote unquote support Tulsi. Like, I feel like there's no way I can't support Bernie when he's pushing for Medicare for all as much as he has been. I don't like some of the things that Bernie does, but that doesn't mean I can't support him. Now, on the flip side of that, whenever you have Bernie kind of messed up on Assange, but Tulsi was great. Does that mean a Bernie supporter has to jump ship? No, but they can say, wow, Tulsi did a great job here. That just earned her $4.20 out of my pocket. And that's perfectly fine. And people feel like that you can't, I don't know. It's just like I said, it's people are emotionally invested. I actually looked this up. I was doing some research and I figured this out. It's called identity. It's like identity deficit. I looked it up. I'm gonna tell you, because this is like, it was crazy when I was looking at the description of it. It's a psychological term. I was looking at the description of it. I said, wow, this is so perfect, because it doesn't only describe this situation, but just the neoliberals in general. But I'm gonna find it. We're gonna figure this out. It's called identity something or another. I had to write it in my iPhone though. Identity defective cognition. That's what it's called. A lot of words for me. Basically, when someone becomes so overwhelmingly invested into something, whether it be emotionally, like all of your friends like that you've made over the last few years are dedicated to this one thing. They all believe this. It's basically the same explanation for why a racist from freaking, the butt crack of Alabama has so much trouble not being racist until they leave the butt crack of Alabama. Why? Because my uncle was racist. My best friends are racist. All of my friends and my family have always believed in this. And once I decide to shift out of that mind state, especially in that, because that's an extreme case, they're worried that they're going to lose everybody that they've ever loved and everything that they've ever known. And it's very similar to the Bernie Sanders movement. Because of he's immensely popular, which is a great thing. But because of that, people finally see an opportunity. Wow, I can be on the winning team for once. Wow, I can, I get to brag about how great my president's doing. How, I chose the right horse in this race. It's about time. I put all this work into Bernie. But they're not thinking about it in terms of the progression of the movement. They're only thinking about it in terms of the relationships that they've built, or in some cases, when it comes to like YouTubers, for example, or other type of avenues, all the money they've made recently is because Bernie gave them a lane to do so. Exactly. Right? So like now you're financially invested. Now here's the problem with this. The reason they call it a defect is because once you're confronted with the truth, and it's like unequivocally true, you cannot argue with the facts, you actually become more unhinged, and you will create lies to justify why you're still loyal to whatever personality, or culture that you're loyal to, no matter like how much it's wrong, because now you've become financially invested in this particular line of thinking. And that's what I've seen a lot. It happened with the Hillary people, probably way more so than the Bernie people. But it happens with Bernie people too. I'm sure it will eventually happen with Tulsi's people too. She's just not popular enough yet. But Tulsi is getting to that point where she's kind of like on the precipice of being like, of blowing up. It's literally once the debate happens, you're going to see a shift, like a paradoxical shift, where everything, or excuse me, not a paradoxical, it starts with a D.
Die.
Oh my goodness, I can't remember the word now. But you know what I'm talking about. It's going to be a huge shift in the
shift in the paradigm.
Yeah, paradigm. Yeah, there you go. It'll be a paradigm shift. And whoa, like people want to be forced to think about who they support. But that's where we want to be at. In my opinion, maybe I'm too complex of a thinker. Maybe I'm like being too optimistic and too naive. But I feel like, wow, if I have to contemplate who's the best progressive to get the job done, that is a good thing in democracy, not a bad thing.
Exactly. When was the last time progressives have been so prominent? Progressive policy priorities have been so prominent and pervasive in the Democratic Party. I can't think of a time like that. So we have and even the corporatists are trying to pretend like they're progressives now. They're not even trying to run a campaign like Hillary Clinton was like, oh, no, trust me, I'm a centrist. I'm going to work with the Republicans and I'm going to get it done. They've all moved away from that. Now they're all liars talking about they support Medicare for all because all of them have backtracked or put out these corporatist alternatives to Medicare for all, like Medicare buy-ins and lowering the eligibility age or having your employer be able to give you a Medicare plan similar like how we have the private health insurance system in the United States right now. So they have to at least pay lip service to progressive policy priorities. And then now we have two firebrand progressives who have a chance of captivating a lot of people in the country. So instead, it's baffling to me why instead of embracing that and celebrating that, you're going to try to dismiss Tulsi Gabbard. You're going to say she's not a progressive. You're going to say she's an Assad apologist. And all the time, all while you're doing it, you can't be bothered to bring up the fact that she, after all of the Russia fear-mongering and nonsense, how she was the only one to put out a bill that mandated paper ballots in all districts or some form of paper backup to verify the votes. MSNBC, but all of mainstream media was some people in independent media had their hair on fire. Russia hacked the election. But Tulsi Gabbard put out that bill. Nobody's
the only one that presented a solution.
Exactly.
Everybody else wanted to focus on the problem because that's what they get paid to do, because they don't want a solution. They want to fearmonger because if you have solution-based thinking, then you can't be scared into voting for the other candidate.
Exactly.
And that's what we basically have been seeing.
And she has her bill to end the prohibition on marijuana. She's one of the only people in Congress to put out a bill to get us to 0% carbon emissions. So all of these things are undeniably progressive and important to the movement. So why can't you just say she's done these good things and Bernie Sanders has done these good things? I like Bernie Sanders more, so I'm going to go with Bernie Sanders. But you know what? I'm not going to knock Tulsi Gabbard because she's doing important work and she's an important voice in the movement. I don't understand that.
There with the nuance, bro. Hold on there.